Hi guys, welcome back to another live. I've decided to do a live on how to thread the Babylock Enlighten Serger on a 2-thread blanket stitch. So there was one thing that really got me, so I'm going to give you a tip if you're struggling with this as well. So I have threaded I'm using the same types of thread as what they show on the instructions here. So I don't actually have a royal blue, but I'm going to use a teal turquoise colour, and the red is going to be the red. So I am following these instructions right here. They don't expect you to learn all these off by heart, so just bear that in mind. You can use your instructions. Don't feel as though you need to learn these off by heart. So first of all, I am going to be moving the camera around like all the time in order to get better angles. I may not be able to see any of your questions, so just bear that in mind. So I'm just going to move you about. I've opted to do this live because I want you guys to see how terribly easy it is to thread a Babylock serger, and let's do this. So first of all, I am going to open this cover like so, and we are now going to thread it. We're going to change the setting down here to, can I zoom in? Oh, I can. Awesome. So I'm going to change the setting here to threading, and then what we need to do is go to the hand wheel over here. I'm going to be moving things about, so just an FYI, I can't edit these videos while I'm live, obviously. So we're going to move this hand wheel round clockwise until you hear that click. So, let's get it here. First of all, I am going to thread the blue section. And it doesn't really matter which thread you want to thread first. Zoom back out here. So I'm going to do this blue one right here. So he is going to go up here, and it tells us that it wants us to put it into this section here. So I'm going to just zoom in a little bit here, because they also tell you that they want you to disengage this top looper, but we're not going to do this just yet. That's this bit here. We'll do that a little bit later. So we're going to put the thread, zoom back out here. Sorry, I hope I'm not making anybody feel ill. So we want to pull this thread right down. They say right down to your knee. You want a really long thread. And then you're going to place this right into your upper looper here. And you're going to press this button, and it's going to fly out. Now you can cut this off a little bit, like so, and just leave that thread dangling down there like that. So the next one I want to thread is the red section. Sorry, that is my cat. And then, it's typical when you're trying to film and something like this happens. Okay, so it goes into this section here, and then it's going to come down, and you're going to pull it all the way again, all the way to your knee. Now, I want you to place your thread into the upper looper. I'm going to press it again. Now, the instructions tell you, this is a tricky part that it threw me for a little bit. So they want us to disengage this upper looper, and they also want this thread here to bypass actually going all the way up. So we actually need to pull it out where it's been threaded. So I'm just going to zoom in here, and I'm going to show you what to do. So So if you look down here, you have to disengage this red thread here. Now, as you can see, I can't even grab the red thread. So how do we grab this red thread? It's easy. So I'm going to zoom out a little bit more. Now remember this, it goes from serging to threading. Now we're going to move this back to serge in a second, and I'll show you what's just happened. Can you see? We can now see the threads here. So what that's actually done, and I'm going to change this back to threading so you can see. Have you seen how it's engaged them barrels there? Now that is there because remember this is an air threading system. So when we press that button, it needs to allow the air to shoot through, and obviously it's not going to be able to push them threads through if we didn't have something there. So by shifting it back to serging, it opens them ports up, and we basically grab this thread here and we want to disengage it from the actual upper looper. Now, the next thing we're going to do is we need to pull this over this here and try not to get my fingers in the way, and we push it over there's a little hole that it goes into, so you're closing the upper looper up. Now we need to send this thread in the direction that it's telling us to go on the instructions. So it's telling us it wants to catch on here like so, and then I'm just going to move it up a little bit. It's going to go then up and round and down here, and then you're going to thread it into the needle. So this is why I wanted to do it live. Here we go. It's that easy. So now we can do all of our settings that it wants. I've already made sure that the left needle is applied. And now it wants us to select our stitch and our length. So I'm going to turn this to one side. I'm going to turn this back to threading before I forget. Now, as you can see here, I have an L on the bottom because I have the tendency to forget which one's the width and which one's the length. So I always have a L on the bottom here. Just use a little sticker. Really easy. So it tells us that it wants a length of 4. There's standard and there's rolled. It'll tell you when it wants a rolled, and it tells you whether it wants a rolled when, let me just get this here. Oh, where are we? Here we go. This is where it says rolled. Ours doesn't say rolled, so it's just a standard. So you set it to a 4, and then it tells us that it wants a 7.5 on here. And this is the distance between the left needle and the right needle. So it's at a 7.5. Then it wants us to select stitch selector A, and it wants us to make sure that we're on the overlock. Now I've checked everything and everything looks super good. So all we have to do now is switch this over to Surgeon, and it's very difficult not to remember to do this because it's not going to let you close the actual door. So switch it over to Surgeon, shut the door, and now you're ready to stitch. So I hope this has been a really good live for you guys on how to thread this machine, the Babylock Enlighten, for a 2-thread blanket stitch. Thank you very much for watching. Bye guys.